So now we talked about all of this, right? So how does Anand's tech stack look like?
I did not expect it. Initially I was handed Factors AI because not many were utilizing all the different features. I started
Hmm.
exploring, work with the CSM on different use cases, and they're pretty good. They're still improving, but the features are good for a company that wants to do a certain level of ABM, a certain level of analytics. So we're trying to see if we can bring our ecosystem or our tool stack integrated between Factors AI, CleverTap, HubSpot, and all those things, and to give a very effective experience to our customers as well as our market.
Got it. And for outreach, like what do you suggest? What tools do you prefer?
Outreach, I think the most common ones are Outreach or SalesLoft. Both of them have their own positives and negatives. I'm not satisfied with both, but they do the job with respect to the features, the different cadences or sequences that you can set up. Uh, VoIP is a problem on both because they both use the same solution provider. So I'm trying to see if there are
Uh,
different
Twilio.
tools out there. There are other tools. I think I've been going across a few platforms.
Do they have? They integrate with Twilio, right? So Twilio is the.
That's the no Twilio is a good solution, but the problem is certain regions have certain issues.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know that.
uh,
I
Again,
can. Yeah,
Middle East you
I
can't
understand.
have VoIPs.
Yes.
Certain other regions you need WhatsApp integration. For example, LATAM you need WhatsApp integrations and things like that. Where both these platforms don't offer that out of the box. You need to have some sort of an integration to fill that gap. So that's one area. That's where even CleverTap has a better solution because we have a WhatsApp integration.
Mm-hmm. And for email marketing.
Email marketing, HubSpot is what I've used for so long. Freshmarketer is also something I like because we customize so many different journeys. Zoho campaign is simple and effective. Active campaigns is also pretty decent.
Hmm.
Mailchimp, if you're if you don't want to use it as a marketing automation platform, if it's an email platform, Mailchimp is good. Marketo is kind of the leader in that segment because of all the different customizations and personalizations that you can do. But again, it's not unified or it's not simplified. It's at a level that every mid market to scale up companies would need. CleverTap also has an email feature, which is also good. That's why I'm plugging in CleverTap as many areas as possible because
Yeah.
I'm exploring a pretty neat solution.
CloudTap is predominantly B2C marketing
It's
automation,
B2C,
right?
it's B2C, but I'm just exploring if we can utilize some of those features for a certain program.
Got it. And in terms of other tools, for reporting and for like anything that you have a suggestion for reporting.
There's, there's we've recently TriTrain is a good company. They're also coming in.
Hmm.
I've used Tableau. There was something else. We had Amplitude for a certain, sorry, not Amplitude. We use Salesforce reporting most of the times. Spot reporting is also good. Depends on what you want to achieve. If you're looking at a global number, something like Power BI, Tableau, those are the most common or the leaders in that segment. There's also Dumo, there's Fivetrain now that's picking up pace. So there are lots of companies in that segment too. I've only been exposed to a few, so I can't comment on the reporting analytics at a large scale. But based on the market trend and based on how popular these platforms are, the four I mentioned are really.
Got it. So having built teams from scratch, right? For both startups and scale ups, right? So what strategies do you employ to building an effective marketing ops team, right? What skills you look for when you're hiring somebody,
Just two
especially in
things.
a very very fast paced environment. Like SaaS is very fast, right? And there's a lot of capital around, right? So you always need really really good people. So yeah, so what strategies are like what have you used to building a team from scratch?
I think only two things. I don't want to complicate that. Just people who are problem solvers, who who look at a problem and can't sleep till they find a solution for it. And people who own uh, ownership is the key for me,
Hmm.
because uh, you can teach anyone national skills, you can give them kind of courses and programs. If they don't own it, it's pretty hard to convince, especially in marketing operations. Because in marketing operations, you're an owner for your project, your platform, your solution, or your program, whatever you are thinking. You have to be the owner for it. You have to drive the results for it. You have to step up and kind of engage periodically, keep your stakeholders actively updated, get active updates from them, ensure whatever key problem areas they're fixing is on the pipeline for us to fix and so on. So those kind of things are mostly essential. So the two key skills I always look for is problem solving, and then
Got it.
you can
Uh,
you can learn tools. That's what. So I'm a guy from a biotech background, right? So I'm the example. You can definitely learn tools. You can definitely learn integrations. You can definitely learn how different platforms talk to each other. But if the thing is, you have to have that skill of ownership and the drive to solve problems. If those two things are there, you can definitely have a good career in MarkOps.
so can you share some insights in terms of what are the tools to start with for an early stage company, and then how do you build that tech stack into a scale up, right? Like for example, a seed or a series A, right? And then you become a series B, you probably make like 2 million, 3 million plus revenue, right? So what is a basic necessity for an early stage company to have, and from there maybe like how do you scale your tech stack from there?
Right. So I think startups or early stage companies, the most usual thing they kind of overlook is having a proper marketing automation solution to capture all their data. Right? So essentially losing your foothold onto the market, which gave you that lead or space in the market. So I would recommend everyone has one marketing automation platform, or at least start capturing their, if they can't afford a marketing automation solution. Upwork has startup programs and so many things. Even Marketer has startup programs. Adobe has startup programs. Eloqua has startup programs. Everyone almost has startup. Right? So we just have to kind of get into those programs, have a small snippet capturing all these information, because GA is just not enough. And now
Hmm.
with cookies going away, potentially by the end of this year, the more you have to have a active analytics running on your website and active cookie running on your website to capture third-party information or non-PII information, and keep a record of it, so you can learn from the digital engagement that your company is making, and your digital footprint is also captured. For example, the most simple problem that it could solve for is early stage companies struggle to understand what are the right keywords that work for them, right? They have to spend so much money on top of the funnel to understand what's the bottom of the funnel key,
Hmm.
apart from brand, right? So that's where a marketing automation solution can help you. Hey, you've seen so many visits. The first keyword was from this. The last keyword was this. So you can use all those informations to understand these keywords are effective, these keywords are not. These keywords brought in conversion, but that's not our ICP. That's some lead does not fit our ICP. And then kind of optimize and then streamline for that. So from a stage of when you're starting up, that's pretty crucial information. It essentially shapes your entire marketing for the future, right? So having one software from any of those software startup programs is pretty essential. And having a analytic solution, or a solution that identifies who's visiting your website. For example, Sixth Sense gives you de-anonymization, demand-based UCC, and Factors gives you de-anonymization. If you start to understand if the right companies you're targeting are visiting your website, that gives you a pretty good signal that hey, your marketing efforts are working, be it
Hmm.
organic or SEO. The traffic that's coming to your website is your target audience. They're not converting today. That's a conversion problem where you can look at the
Yeah.
engagement points, landing pages, ad copies, different CPAs, and change it, or maybe start doing more ABM based approach to those specific accounts, because they've started engagement. Now you just have to nurture them to engage with you or convert. So those two solutions are enough for you to start with any email platform. So most of the marketing automation platform comes with an email solution. Any email platform out there could help. CleverTap could help. Zoho could help. Freshworks could help. All the previous companies have an email solution. So pick one, kind of start using it. The thing is, how effective and curated your content is. That's how people connect with emails. Emails are still effective. People might feel, or we might feel like we're overwhelmed with emails, right? So we're guys who get emails constantly. So we might feel, hey, emails might not work. But in reality, emails work because it kind of pivots that person who's sitting on the edge saying, should I go with this company or that company? So your email hitting them before the other company's email kind of becomes a decision point. That's just one factor out of a million, right? So email kind of hits the right note. You have to ensure that all your campaign strategy is kind of curated to give them that experience, like, hey, trust us, choose us, let's move with us, things like that. So
Got it.
all these three platforms is enough for a startup or a seed company, that a company in the seed stage to
Uh,
kickstart their
got
market.
it. Along with maybe your CRM, right? So we talked about marketing automation platform, right? CRM is a must. Um, then you have factors kind of a tool which can de-anonymize your website traffic, and a basic email marketing tool. How much money do you think somebody should spend on some of these tools, like when they're starting pretty early, and like based on what you know, how much approximately like a monthly kind of a budget they should allocate for for these?
That's a tough question to answer because in today's market, prices are dipping, changing. People are giving good discounts. So if you're starting today, uh, I think for a tech stack, all the tech stack, like CRM, marketing automation, and
Mm-hmm.
analytics, reporting combined, maybe 50K, 50 to 60K annually is something that you might have to burn because you will be making use of those platforms again. And these are crucial platforms. I think with these markets, right, it goes from like even 30K to like almost a million or more even, right? That's how many players there are in this market. Most of
Yeah,
us even would have worked for this company, right? But just to start off with, you need to choose the right tool, which is optimally could help you for the next 3 to 4 years. So with that aspect, maybe a budget of around 50K to 60K might put you. And again, in this market, right, today's market where you can get discounts, startup programs, all those things,
you,
you
you
can
talk about
kind of budget
USD,
for that.
right? You talk about USD, so it's
Oh, USD,
probably
USD, yeah.
USD.
No, no, no.
So
Definitely
about
not INR.
$4,000 a month, right? So that's something that is kind of a budget, right? So can you also do it little lesser, like $1,000 maybe,
We
something
can
like
see
that?
that's where Zoho has a great model. Right? So you start with
Yeah,
Zoho one, and you're spending like it depends on the number of users you have in your organization. Maybe 10,000 rupees per user or 15,000 rupees per user. You get a variety of tech stacks. So you can go as low as that. The thing is, reason why I'm telling Zoho 1 is because it's a unified system. You get more than just CRM marketing.
yeah.
There are a plethora of platforms that you can just try and utilize. But there are, if you want to be very specific, you don't need all that jazz. You just need a few specific items. You can also go with other solutions.
I,
Uh,
when I started out, when I started, right, so I didn't want to spend a lot of money on tools, right? So basically, what I did was, because I worked in a data company, so I know how to hack for a data, right? So it was always that I was using free. There were like hundreds of tools that I already know of. So I subscribe to every one of them, and everybody gives like 100 free credits. Right? That
yeah,
practically
yeah,
took care of
everyone
my
does.
data problem, right? Then I had a friend, Playbook.ai. So there is a company called Playbook.ai. Soumitra and
Hmm.
Rohit, I just want to give them a shout out, right? They give their platform for free. It is basically like outreach, right? Like you can do multi-channel
Yeah, yeah.
sequences and stuff. So I basically have a free license that I'm using, because I also initially I helped them, in some of those companies that I worked as a consultant. So basically free, and then predominantly Excel, right, for outreach and data. But I completely understand, and I know where you're coming for, right? So I fired money. If I was a funded company, I would have definitely spent money on one, marketing automation, because it's very important for you to understand where how are you getting leads from, where are you getting those leads from, and everything in a single place is like a dream, right? Somebody is like,
That, yeah,
cooking a proper meal and putting it in your plate so that you can eat it pretty easily, right? And that's how it is. And if you
data
have to
is
cook like four
precious.
or if you have to cook your own dish and 4 to 5 times, and like, like go and in the middle of your job and go look for a cook, and it's difficult, right? So that kind of helped me, but again, anybody who's starting, they can start very very minimal and basic. For example, tools like Apollo, like $99, like unlimited email credits.
Yeah,
Tools like I've used Clenty for a while, and Clenty is also a really really good tool.
yeah, plenty is good.
And then I've used Woodpecker, right, for outreach, right, practically at $35 a month, and some of these tools are like 35, 40, $50 a month. Uh, LinkedIn, of course, is free, right? You
Yeah,
can do a lot of outreach on LinkedIn,
free.
right? And of course, Premium and Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is pretty useful. Anybody who wants to start some kind of an outreach should definitely buy a Sales Navigator license, right?
Yeah,
That gives them a lot of perspective of what is happening with their target accounts, their target leads and stuff like that, right? Because the information is coming to you. Any updates they have, any of your lead is posting or any of your lead is commenting, right? That information is actually coming straight to your inbox, right? So I think, yeah, I definitely agree with you. So I use Zoho Begin, which is a very
mm,
lightweight tool, and it's also pretty cost effective for me. Okay, like very very cost effective. So there are some of these tools, I think, in the market are really good, cost effective, right? And I think it's very important to have data in a single place, right? And I still have
yeah,
this problem of getting data siloed. Like I still have a lot of information from different places, like, and I regret that, right? And when I look back, I would have probably I would have changed the way that I did the whole marketing or tech stack for me. But yeah, that's great. So
the
let's go
Indian
into, we talked
SaaS,
about. Hmm?
the Indian SaaS ecosystem by itself, right? I think most of the platforms that you would have seen in the Indian SaaS is it's us, our Indian founders, trying to make things simple, right? As simple as possible and as affordable as possible. And thanks to the entire geo positioning of India, we kind of have the right set of nurture, like talent, right set of investors, and right set of market to kind of go and do. So it's in a very, very right spot at the moment, and it's still, if there are lots of products and they're optimizing, they're improving, they're expanding their capability. So the future is also even better.
Right. Okay, one quick question: how do you make sure you're keeping a track of all the latest tech stacks in the market?
There's marketing operations pro network that I'm a part of. So there's lots of conversations happening between different marketing operations specialists. They post problem, they kind of connect on different issues. We can share. I usually kind of go try to see if people have different solutions for some of the problems that I'm tackling. So that's a very active network. And I also follow some of the G2 product, like product hunt as well as G2 positioning if something else is
Mm-hmm.
coming. So that also helps, kind of gives you an understanding of what categories have new tools.
Got it.
Mostly, I'm kind of learning more about tools that are coming up in India because I'm working with the SaaS as a community, as you know, right? So there's always some interaction, conversation. I meet up with one founder or the other who kind of has different solutions. We kind of, then and there, kind of try to pitch and understand how they're solving certain problems. So those are pretty active conversations that I'm mostly a part of. So that helps. Networking helps a lot to understand and keep
Got it.
yourself updated into the market.
So your suggestion to people who wants to learn like tech stack, being part of community helps, because community is where
A lot.
the discussions happen. And number two, networking, right? You get to learn a lot about new tools by talking to people. And
Mm.
probably three is product hunt and G2, right? So you get
Yeah.
like product of the day and all
G2,
of the
Captera, GetApp, all
G2
those
Capta,
places. Yeah.
right? These are the basic way of keeping in touch, right? I also agree. I see a lot of I'm also part of multiple like communities, and I get to learn a lot about new tools and communities. And of course, by talking to people, you get a different point of view. You get to learn about new use cases, and once you know about new use cases, you always try to figure out what is a tool that can solve some of these use
Correct.
cases, and right. And I think keeping a track of some of these areas, I think it definitely help. So one final question, and this is a question that you talked about this at the beginning of this conversation, but a very important question. Have you integrated ABM strategy into your overall growth? marketing
Yes.
initiatives? What impact have you observed? And before that, I want to ask for people, for in general, right? What is ABM? Of course, see, there's a lot of different concepts of ABM, right? And I see a lot of people talk about. See, one, I'll explain why I ask you this question, right? And I've done ABM about 5 years back, and one of the like titled ABM marketers like that I had about 5 years with Kisflow, right? The one problem that I see with most of them is that I speak to a lot of people, right? They generally come up and say that, Karthik, I'm doing this email campaign, right? And I'm doing ABM. So when I ask them, like they say that I'm building a list from Apollo and sending out emails, right? And they call that ABM. And some people, okay, I'm doing a LinkedIn paid social campaign, and I'm like trying to get more downloads. Can you help me with that, right? I ask them what do they do. They are saying that, hey, this is an ABM program, right? And typically ABM programs are predominantly like this, right? Yeah, and there's a lot of so-called marketers. No, they're also preaching this. This is ABM, right? And I'm a strong believer. This is not ABM, right? So what
No,
is
so
ABM?
this.
And yeah, what impact have you seen? And have you integrated any kind of an ABM campaign with any of these companies that you worked with? And what impact, right? What impact have you observed in
So
general?
the, so with respect to ABM, I think people people have lots of misconceptions, right? So if you know who your target audience is, if you know this is the ICP and TAM that I want to focus, you need to first then figure out what is the problem that they're searching for in the market. Do I have content addressing these problems in the market? And do they resonate with those contents? Right? So that's the basic research that you have to go in terms of doing an ABM. The top funnel, mid funnel, bottom funnel, that's almost relevant for everyone. Right? But the most crucial element is a unified approach. Your marketing, your sales, your digital, all those three different engagements should be in unison, addressing the same problem, talking the same language, or trying to convince them about the solution that you're offering is to that. So
Hmm.
just doing a targeted campaign, a targeted email blast might not help you convert those leads. But what I've seen effectively help is having that unified language and unified content out there helps you like nurture the interest, bring those conversations. So, for example, you talk about omni-channel, right? The more abused word. So there's omni-channel. Uh, uh, you talk about omni-channel on a blog content. It's a LinkedIn post, an organic post, no paid promotions in it, an organic post. Now you're promoting an organic or omni-channel effectiveness for customer experience or conversion, sales, etc. As a webinar, you're targeting a specific set of accounts that you want to invest. Now you're targeting the same audience with LinkedIn ad campaigns to ensure that they are also looking at it on multiple other platforms. You are now sending another, now a sales sequence goes out saying, hey, we're running these omni-channel activities. If you're interested, just sign up. And then from there, if based on the people who have the intent to sign up or the interest to sign up for omni-channel, right? That's just one keyword, one problem statement. There might be multiple problem statements for your time. You just have to ensure that your ABM addresses all these different problem statements and brings them into that conversation. That's one method, but that's the effective way of doing it as far as what I've seen from a bottom of the funnel conversion perspective. It has helped. There is demand-based, Six Sense, lots of different platforms, CleverTap, factors. So all these platforms are pretty good in terms of utilizing for your marketing automation requirements, especially with respect to ABM, understanding who your audiences are, segmenting them in different A/B tests to ensure that they are engaging on these things. Uh, the nature of it is similar to what I've discussed a
Hmm.
few moments back, right? But with respect to ABM, a unified approach is the best way to do it. When I say unified, it's not just all the teams coming together. They have a clear understanding of what they're pitching to in the market. They have a clear sign off on, hey, I'll do this, you do this. So we make sure they come here. They learn the data, they understand what's happening at each of these different campaigns or these different engagements, understand, improvise, improve, optimize, kind of run all these programs consistently. So that has helped a lot. You can also, the simple indicator is you'd see the accounts that you're targeting actively engaging more on your website, on your assets, on the LinkedIn ads, converting more, and having a lead convert is a great sign, right? After all those engagements, meaning you've nurtured or you've engaged enough people for someone to take a call to see what the product is. That's a direct bottom of the funnel signal saying, hey, then
Got it. Okay. So when do you think I should invest in a tech stack like demand base or Rollworks or some of these ABM 6 cents, right? So is it right away or is it like you need to take a little bit of more time for investing a lot of money?
I've seen some do it immediately, like when they're starting up, they immediately do ABM. This topic with respect to ABM was spoken with a lot of folks, right? So some start at an early stage where they don't have enough money to put on organic. They want to only focus on certain accounts. So they are the low hanging fruits that they want to convert. And they want to ensure that all the efforts are going towards closing those deals, which is fair, which is a good way to approach. Some have would have done it at a later stage where they've completely closed all the enterprise deals. Now they want more top of the funnel from different segments of the market. Now they do with a broader approach because now they can name drop all the different enterprise customers they have, things like that. Some kind of do consistently from a problem statement rather than from an industry perspective, like
Hmm.
positioning at a problem statement level for accounts and see what accounts come in, see who fits their requirement, then taking those accounts to the next segment and then nurturing them in conversion. There are multiple approaches here. Depends on where you are. If you don't want to, again, if you're an enterprise company who's doing really good and you want to focus APM, you can. It's another channel at that point, right? It's not the only campaign that's on. But if you're a startup who wants to do ABM rather than paid channel, you can try that off for like a quarter and see how the result is. You have to learn and optimize. That's the problem. Sometimes it might not work for you. Just have to learn and optimize. It depends on the market conditions. If, for
Got
example,
it.
if you're doing it in Q2 and Q3, most of them might have not, their contracts would have been signed in Q1 or Q4, right? So they might not be interested to learn new content because nowadays everyone understands it's a plugin to go do a demo. So that engagement kind of reduces the.
Got it. Okay. So we've come to the final question. So what suggestion you have for people who's looking to build a career in marketing operations?
Uh, listen to lots of podcasts. There are lots of really great podcasts, RevOps podcasts. There's also a RevOps community where lots of conversations happen around what are the type of issues faced in the market today,
Hmm.
what are the solutions required, and then you can look. I think there's from Darren Alfonso. There's a book he also wrote. It's a very quick, handy handbook where it gives you a clear snippet overview of what marketing operations can do, what are the different challenges and how to set an optimal team, what are the different touch points that you can review, what are the simple basic processes that you can implement. Dan and Alfonso's marketing operation handbook that might help. There are also quite a few lots of influences in the marketing automation. That's where the marketing operations grows. It's a very good
Hmm.
community for them to learn about marketing operations, but also ensure that you generate two skills, like ownership skills and then your willingness to solve problems and
Problems.
willingness to go through a problem and learn and understand what that exact problem is, where its root is, how to solve it, and things like that. So these are the only tips that I will give. I will not give too much gyan. I always overload on.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. I think we have come to the end of the episode. Thanks, Anand, for taking time out. It's been a great discussion for me, and I think there's a lot of learning for the audience as well. Hoping we'll have this conversation again, right? And you probably dive into much more detail about marketing ops. But again, thanks again for spending time with us on the podcast.
A pleasure, Karthik. Thanks again for having me again. I think this is a podcast like this is necessary because people, like not everyone have the right resources to go to and immediately understand about the problem. So if every resource is a good resource. There are different perspectives, so people can learn from all these different perspectives as well. So podcast like this is really good. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for inviting me as well. It was a pleasure. Lots of great conversations.
Yeah, pleasure is mine, man. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode and please subscribe. Thank you.